Thank you. So, good afternoon to everyone. In the next few minutes, I would like to talk to you about OSM's navigation capabilities and challenges through the example of a comparative study on OSM key tags for navigation. So I came from NNG. I worked there as a software tester, and we are a global company who's designing and shipping navigation solutions, both connected and offline solutions from cockpit to cloud to global partners. And we do this always with fresh map contents, with global and regional providers as well. So we work together with most of the global brands, and as we hear from them, they are not only looking for quality solutions, but they would also like to have cost-effective solutions with their maps that they have in their cars and vehicles. And that's exactly the reason why I'm here today, because OSM has the maturity for turn-by-turn navigation. As that's the reason why we added NNG maps into our portfolio, which is an OSM core product. So we have OSM for all the navigation layers, and we only use third-party additional contents where it is necessary because of the spatial distribution and data quality of OSM. We have years of experience with OSM, mostly internal experiences so far. But we know that we are not the only company who's dealing with OSM navigation. So we went out for a field test where we compared two navigation solutions, one embedded solution, which was our solution, NNG Maps, and we also took a device with OSM, the popular Android-based navigation software. We went around in Budapest, the capital of Hungary, where we tested all the key functionalities which is required for a good navigation. And why we did it? So first, we wanted to identify whether we really use the common key tag set of OSM, which is needed for navigation. We wanted to understand whether we have the same challenges with the OSM data. And this way, we wanted to identify some areas where we could improve, and that's what I would like to present to you today. And to present this, I will go through in an order which follows the actual user expectations. So let's say, for example, I'm in point A, I would like to get to point B. First, I would like to select my destination. Then I would expect the navigation to plan a route which is safe, secure, and effective. When the navigation is running, I should have solutions which help my navigation experience with every possible solution through guidance instructions. And of course, all this should be done in a realistic, but also fast rendering environment, which should be done with visualization. This is an interesting topic as well, and we have OSM layers for this, but I won't talk about it today because it doesn't affect the routing itself, and also because of time constraints, it's better to be kept out now. So let's start first with destination entry. And the first section, how we can do it, is searching for an address. Either we can do it with a structured solution, so in a hierarchical order by city, street, and house number level, we can do it. Or we can write everything into one box. For either solutions, we have the necessary OSM tags in the database, and it can be filled out. Well, the level how it is filled out, it depends a lot, of course, where we check it. So, for example, here, as I found in the US, the coverage, even with house numbers, is very good. But, for example, in Europe, as we tested, there are some areas where there is a room for improvement. And one thing which I would like to highlight here is the Latin transcriptions. So here in the US, it's not a big question, I guess, because you don't have very special alphabets. But for example, as we experienced it in some European countries, for example, in Serbia, there you really need a good Latin transcription. So not only the Serbian language should be mapped for street names and city names, but also English, French, or any other type of language should be there, because otherwise it could be a challenge for visitors to navigate that way. Another way how we can select our destination is selecting the POI, a point of interest, either searching a specific place or trying to find a good restaurant or a fuel station along our route. For this, we also have all the OSM maps. And here, what I would try to really highlight is the importance of names. So, for example, here on the right, with this OSM and screenshot, you can see how much difference it makes when you have proper name for the parking space POIs, and not just parking, 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 or fuel station without a proper name is listed. So here, what we really recommend for fellow mappers, so if you find nameless POIs, it's a very good way to improve the data set because it's better usable that way in the navigation softwares. And of course, all the other additional information about opening hours for EV stations, all the potential information is welcome and can be well used for navigation with either solutions. Let's start now route planning. And of course, here the backbone is the route classification of the route network. For this, of course, we can use the highway tag. And what is quite important here, as we experienced, is if we do the first surveying, of course, the unclassified category is good. But after that, the real route classification should be added because map compilation process doesn't really like this kind of unclassified category with either solutions. And the other thing that we experienced really in the field is that we really need the information on the surface. So adding the proper value with asphalt is also important, but at least indicating that something is paved or unpaved, that's really important for navigations, because otherwise you might run into a situation during navigation which can be quite sudden. So it's better to map it properly. About segment usage restrictions, we can say that, for example, the one-way tags are very well mapped, as we experienced. But if we talk about vehicle-based restrictions, here you could see that if we have that information, it can be properly marked by the navigation software. So there is a pop-up window or something like that, which allows you to change private roads or non-private roads. And here, yeah, I can just also say that if you have this tag, you will have the proper routing, but if not, you might end up in an industrial area where you didn't really like to go originally. For maneuver restrictions, here it could be good to start a discussion on the current mapping guideline, because it says that if something is not signed by a table, then it shouldn't be mapped. But here I would like to bring you an example. Let's see this situation. Here at this junction, U-turn is not prohibited by table signage, and this way, both of the navigation could plan this route, but otherwise it's a dangerous situation. So that's our experience with other maps as well. So if something is not table assigned, but logically a maneuver restriction is needed there, it's better to include it. So it's something that might be reconsidered with the mapping guideline here. Another thing is speed limits. All of our drivers said that they really like seeing the actual legal speed limit and not only seeing the actual speed of the car that they are taking. So for this, to map this properly, we can use either the explicit values that we see by tables, but if this information is not available or we are not sure about that, even the implicit values, so simply using the country rules that for primary roads we have, I don't know, 60 miles or something like this, it's still better than nothing. So that's our experience with that, and that's how we saw with both navigations. In terms of lane information, of course, it's the best if we have it for all the road network, the complete road network, but where they can be really important are complex junctions, because if we fill up this data properly about the textual information, the lanes, the road shields that are available, as you can see, it's something that would have the guidance of the drivers very well. And now I turn to the last section of my presentation about the real guidance instructions, which are not indispensable for navigation, but they have the driving experience a lot. First of all, here are the traffic signs. I think there will be a presentation about that tomorrow, as I saw in the program. So OSM has the capabilities and the text set for that, but our experience was that this possibility is not yet used in its full functionality. So it's a good mapping purpose for those who are interested in that. And this way, as you can see, if this is filled up, then it's really useful for the users because they receive information about warnings, regulations, about the table signage next to the routes in a form of a small pop-up. So it's a really useful feature, and there's definitely a good room for improvement there. I don't know how is the situation here in the States, but in Europe, most of the users really like having the speed camera information in their navigation because sometimes they like going faster a bit than it is allowed by the regulations, and they have to know where they have to slow down a bit. For this, we have the OSM capabilities as well, and what we experienced is that the locations are very well mapped. So we could find almost all the speed cameras that were there in reality. But something which is needed for the proper functionality of these are the max speed information and the direction where you have to really measure the speed. So this was not mapped for many of the speed cameras. So it's also a good way to improve the data here with mapping challenges and other initiatives. And finally, I would like to bring in a feature which is currently not implemented in OSM as far as I know, road announcements. So for example, let's say that we have this information here about the destination, Swansea, and now I'm saying it with my funny Hunglish accent because I'm from Hungary originally. But if it could be mapped with, for example, the IPA translation, where it could tell to the navigation engine as well how to say it properly, then this information could be used later in the future by both navigation or either navigation engines. So to summarize, I can just confirm again, validating two navigation solutions, that OSM is ready for turbine-to navigation. And that's why we offer, for example, NNG maps to our customers as well with growing confidentiality. And our company would like to take a part in improving OSM as well. So during map compilation and testing, if you find any kind of error or problem with the OSM data, we will feed it back directly. But we would also like to take part in collaboration with the OSM communities, local communities in either countries. And as I presented some of the layers and their importance, how it can be improved, we might even make some mapping challenges as well on MapRoulette or on other interfaces. And just as I mentioned, there are two features where maybe a community discussion should be carried out in the future. One is about the maneuver mapping guideline, as I mentioned, and the other is about phoniness, whether it should be included in the maps in the future or not. So there is room for improvement, but even in this form, as we experienced, OSM is a very good option for navigation, and this way we can recommend it to anyone who would like to use it as a solution. So thank you very much.
Yeah.